who came to one of these presentations over the last couple of years previously? Okay. I've rearranged the slides so it'll look different. Who here has existing British Skydiving coaching rating? Okay. Who's looking at getting a coach rating? Who here has a coach rating in another sport?
Well, I'm a teacher. Well, that's not really.
That doesn't count. That's not proper. That's not proper.
Kids on sport.
Well, no.
Current or past or...
Yeah. So, I mean, because the whole point of this qualification is it's standardisation across all sporting sectors. So there should, I'm hoping that someone say, yes, I have. So you can say, yes, I have had one. So you'll recognise some of the parallels. That's it. What I'd like to do, my plan had been that I was going to try and rattle through my presentation, giving lots of time for questions at the end. And also, if we had some of the other individuals who've already got the coach qualification or been on the course, to then have a breakout so people could, rather than have to ask questions in front of everybody, they could ask them one-on-one. Unfortunately, at the moment, I am the only person who's done the course here.
That's not true.
So, so I apologise. Oh, well, there you go then. Right, so we have people. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, no, you're Stu's students, not mine. That's that. So great. I apologise. Thank you very much. And Stu should be joining us later. He's, I don't know, building his business empire downstairs. Those that have been to these presentations before, it should be similar information, so it shouldn't be too different. It should be an update. And really, part of it is, again, to explain what the course is, why, and also give you an update. Last year, 2023, we were running pilot courses. We now are going live. So explain a bit more about that. So bear with me. So this isn't my laptop, so what button do I push to make it go forward? Oh, there we go. Right. My name is Martin Soulsby. I am here because I was chair of a working group put together by council. The initial remit of the working group was to look at our current coach structure. I'm going to sit down if that's all right. Our current coach structure and see if it's appropriate and to see what other sports do. We put some recommendations together. Council then suggests go ahead and do those, and that's how the course has come about. You'll see from the list of presentations, my job title here is given as lead coach developer. And we'll talk a little bit more as we go through the presentation about that, using language which is common across other sporting sectors. So that's a title, that's what it says on the tin. It's someone within a sporting organisation whose role is to actually develop coaches. What we're going to cover today is qualification versus rating. What is the foundation coach qualification? Why would I want it? And how do I qualify? So, all important stuff. So we talk about standards. When I went off and investigated what other sports do, I found quite quickly an organisation called CIMSPA, which is the Chartered Institute for the Management of Sports and Physical Activities. Government-funded body, and they're responsible for putting together professional standards. So it's what sporting bodies refer to as technical and tacticals. Nothing to do with that, it's about generic coaching. And so they have a professional standard for coaches, and that's what we've used as the basis of this qualification. We quickly found and partnered with an organisation called UKCoaching, and they are a company that provide to many other sporting bodies generic coaching content, and it's constantly being updated with the latest thoughts. It's being as theories change, so does their content, and they are our partner that provide that generic coaching content. And First for Sport, a sister company of theirs, and they are come in, it's cool. They're an accreditation body, so they're responsible to help us develop the qualification in terms of the unit specification, what's going to get taught, and also in terms of making sure as we award it that everyone who's awarding it is doing it to the same standard. So they will do our external quality assurance. And finally is Ofqual. Oh, I can't really see that, can you? Can everyone see that? Ofqual, who is a government-funded body that's responsible for qualifications, what it says on the tin. So they do A-levels, GCSEs, NVQs, etc., and qualifications like ours. So this is an official, proper qualification. So within sporting environment, you have levels of coaches. So level 1 coach is, and that's, so this is, the level 2 is not something we've put together. That is a sporting term for the skill level of the coach. So level 1 is an assistant coach. We don't have that. Level 2 is a full body coach, if you like. Level 3 would be an advanced coach, and then there's level 4, then there's a level 5, which would be our elite coach. So those are the kind of the levels. And again, because of the terminology, it's a bit of a mouthful. It's a level 2 certificate in coaching skydiving foundation skills. So we're calling that a foundation coach. And the reason for that is actually in other sports, a foundation coach is an assistant coach, is a level 1. So that we had to dance around the terminology. And again, the reason for this is we want it to be not necessarily recognised. You have a level 2 coach here, you can go be a level 2 coach in football or in rugby, but actually there is transferable skills and it is recognised, so we need that same terminology. So what does it achieve? As I said, it creates consistency, and you'll see when we go through how the process works. There is standards that we adhere to. Everyone who is running a course has to ensure that what's taught and also to a certain standard. And when you're assessed, that you're competent. And again, that's overseen by First for Sport and Ofqual. As I said, we developed a structure. So at the moment, there's just one coach rating. You've got a coach rating. Within free flying tracking, you have a basic coach, then a full fat coach, but mostly that's it. We're actually going to create a journey for you. So there'll be a foundation coach, an advanced coach, and an elite coach. Through UKCoaching, it's the gold standard, highest level of theory and practical knowledge on coaching, and which stays up to date, I should say. This means we'll be providing our members, you, and our new members, the highest level of coaching, and they can have confidence of that. This is not about, this qualification is on par with our current coach rating in terms of what skill level in skydiving you're teaching. What will be different is actually your level of knowledge and experience around coaching. But it means there's a minimum standard. So members, when they see someone with this qualification, can be confident in the standard of quality of coaching they will be receiving. It's semantics that, but you understand what I'm saying. We're going to create a safe and positive learning environment. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? All right, but we'll go a little bit more into that. But that's for not just the participant, the member being coached, but also the learner, the trainee coach, which is very important. And we'll go into that in more depth. As I've mentioned a number of times now, the aim is that you'll have skills that are transferable. Some of you may have been at Stu Alburn's presentation yesterday. He had some people who've already been on the course, and one of those actually said they'd transferred quite a lot of knowledge from the coaching course they've done into their work environment and actually using it there. So, you know, hopefully it makes people think a lot more about who, where and why they are a coach and how they coach. As I said before, the golden standard of knowledge. And the great thing is it stays up to date, it moves. Better skills, better skydives. Better coaching means actually the participant learns more, learns in a challenging, fun environment, does better. We retain more people in the sport. People progress quicker. All good stuff. Okay. This is a change. Don't worry, you're not late. Much. Oh, come closer, because I don't want to shout, please. So this is a change. There is, as an instructor, you're teaching people with no knowledge of skydiving, so it tends to be very dictatorial. This is the lesson plan, this is what we're going to teach. As a coach, you have knowledge, you're trying to give information, but you're trying to match that person's needs and deliver it in a style which is how they best receive it. We as skydivers have egos the size of this building. My ego is the size of this building, and I still think I've got one of the smallest egos in this sport. We all have a huge amount of knowledge, and we want to share it. So as a coach, it's really important. You could stand there and talk about body position for half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour on how to do a turn, right? But we don't want to do that. We want to give them just the right amount of information, so that's really important. So it's about being person-centric, developing a style and delivering the content for the person in front of you and the needs that they have. Now, I keep using the same photo, and Mr. Lovemore is getting more and more upset that I use it, but it makes me laugh. It's about the student, not the coach. Apparently, this photo makes me look stupid because everyone realised he's wearing a 360 helmet, and actually he is looking at the student and smiling, but it still makes me laugh. Right. So, I've used some terminology, and I've mentioned it's important we have terminology which is used across the sporting sector. So some of the things we'll talk about, CPD, continual professional development, and that's for you as the coach. This isn't, you've got your qualification, great, for the next 15 years I can teach side slides or head down carves exactly the same way. The idea is you actually move forward, you keep learning, and you then transfer that knowledge and use that knowledge with your coaching. The trainee coach, the person who goes on the foundation coach course, is called a learner. The member who gets taught by those coaches is our participants. At a training provider, you have a tutor, the subject matter expert, who will teach you about the topics. You have someone who's an assessor who is responsible for assessing whether you are competent or not yet competent. This will all make sense later, really. Okay. They are collectively, with the coaches, known as workforce. That doesn't mean they're paid. It doesn't necessarily mean they're employed. It's just a generic term. So when we talk about training the workforce, that's everyone within this process. And we've already mentioned there's internal quality assurance and external quality assurance, and I'll go into that in more depth. And we've already spoken rating versus qualification. This is a qualification, it's approved by Ofqual. Our current coach rating is exactly that. It's something we award internally. You know, that, and no disrespect, it's whatever an advanced instructor or CI deems is the level that is they're happy to sign off on a form. And literally from drop zone to drop zone, that can vary, so you don't know. There is a new foundation coach manual, key part of this process, and I'll talk about that. And a learner portfolio, a very important document. Now, I think the process is really easy. So someone said, can you map it out for me? Do a workflow. So I did. And I apologise for the graphics because it's the limit of my graphic design. Don't actually read into that, we're going to go through the boxes. So I then realised maybe it's a little more complicated than I thought. So I'll try and simplify things. The first decision you have to make is, are you interested in becoming a foundation coach? If you are, the next step is to download the foundation coach manual from the British Skydiving website. That's a beer, sorry. And within that, a UKCoaching content, links to UKCoaching content. It is behind a firewall. So you will need, a paywall. So you will need a subscription. You will get, from British Skydiving, a free 1-year subscription to UKCoaching. That will allow you access. This is one of the pages from the Foundation Coach Manual. Again, talking about person-centric coaching style. The blue links are, as you can see, links into UK coaching content. Now, to read through the Foundation Coach Manual will take you 30, 40 minutes. If you just read what's there, and it explains the process, the rationale, and provides lots and lots of information. If you, as you should do, start clicking on the links and it going into the content from UK Coaching, it will take you many, many hours. This is the beginning of your journey as a coach. Now, it could be, as you've read through the manual, you decide that no, you don't want to do this. And that's absolutely fine. For me, it's a win-win. Just for you to start reading this information and thinking about how to coach and actually how you should be coached is a positive for us as a spoiled. Yeah. When you've done this and you've worked your way through and you have a better understanding, the next stage, so that's a very key part. That's the first of your journey. Does that all make sense? Has anyone got any questions on any of that? Yes?
After your free 1 year, how much does it cost to be UK?
We'll come on to that. It's £18. Okay. It's £28 retail, but we get a discount and we pass that discount on to you. Any other questions on that? Yeah.
Those with ratings.
Oh, apologise, my fault. This is obviously being videoed, hence I'm mic'd up. Your questions, I wonder if you could, is this live? Brilliant. I wonder if you could ask the question into that.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I don't need to hear, but
Those with ratings, will them ratings be defunct because we're going on to this new coaching system?
Can I answer that question at the end?
Certainly.
Yeah, sorry, we'll save that only because I've got a slide on it. Any other questions on the Foundation Coach Manual and the process to get the free UK Coaching membership? Brilliant. Just contact membership services and they will provide you with the free code and instructions on how to use it, if you want to do that. Brilliant. Okay, so you've read the manual and you think, I'm not put off yet. I still want to be a coach. Okay, so you select your training provider, you approach them, they will give you a list of prior course learning. Obviously, it's the Foundation Coach Manual. At the moment, it will mostly include, on UK Coaching, there is a e-learning pack on sudden cardiac arrest, and there's also a safeguarding module, which covers a duty of care module, which covers safeguarding, some health and safety stuff, things like that, which is, again, good generic knowledge. They will check that you meet the minimum requirement for the chosen discipline. So at the moment, we have forms 134A to H, which lay out as a coach the minimum requirements you need to become a coach. So most simple, in FS, you need 2 years since your first solo descent in the sport, 200 jumps, C licence, FS1, and knowledge of the FS Coach Manual. Now, it doesn't mean you can't actually start your course if you don't have 200 jumps yet or you don't have a C licence, but it means you can't get the qualification till you have that. But as you'll see, the process isn't an overnight thing, so you can actually start with a training provider's approval, the course, and so, certainly when we're talking things like wingsuiting or tracking or a free fly, where there's higher requirements, they wouldn't be unreasonable for you to start before you actually can do that. And the course is designed, it's a modular course, so you actually can do certain modules as you go. Book yourself on a course. When you actually, now, different training providers are going to have slightly different plans. There is a one-off fee with First for Sport, the accreditation body, of at the moment, £58. Stu Alban, who's running courses, bundles that all up into his course fee. So you don't see that. Other people are talking about actually providing the tutor and assessor for free, so you would pay for your jump tickets and that one-off fee, okay? And that's valid for 2 years, and that's important. We'll come back to that later. So what actually will the training provider do? So you've read through the Foundation Coach Manual, you've spent many hours on the UKCoaching website going through that content. That's generic coaching content. So that will be the first part of the training provider's course, will be to contextualise that. Why is this relevant for skydiving? And they won't be telling you, they'll be asking you, you're skydivers. Why is knowing about the Disability Act relevant to you as a skydiving coach? You know, why is unconscious bias important for you as a skydiving coach? You know, you will discuss it, you will have ideas. It's contextualising it, so actually this theory on coaching, why is it relevant, how am I going to use it? Second part is actually skydiving discipline part, focused. So whether you're a free flyer, FS, CF, wingsuit, whatever, that is the technical part on actually how do you teach a turn, how do you teach a side slide, how do you teach a head down carve. The next stage is, and that can be delivered, the course is designed so it could be a face-to-face. So like I say, at the moment, Stu is delivering them as 3-day courses on a drop zone. It could be, it's a mix of Zoom and Teams. So the generic part is delivered, 2 hours once a week online. Then the final part is an assessment. And the assessment is done by a mix of written questions and answers, and as currently, with the current coach rating, 2 briefings, 2 observed jumps, which are videoed. And the video of those jumps goes forward into your learner portfolio, the evidence to go forward for your qualification. That all makes sense? That's pretty standard as it's done now. So we talked about it being modular, or I talked about it being modular. There's actually 11 tasks, didn't all fit on one page. It will get run through. But you can see, so the first 6 are effectively generic coaching information. A little bit on rules and regulations, skydiving, but everything else, apologise, everything else there is pretty straightforward. Yep. And then the next set of tasks are what we do already, practical demonstration, evaluation jumps. The last task is review. And that is where you learn and demonstrate the skill to actually be self-assessed, be self-aware, know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then develop your own CPD plan, the development plan, and how you're going to develop as a coach, become better. That's all very formal, isn't it? Looks very... Okay, so you are assessed by the evidence in your learner portfolio. The learner portfolio is a 45-page document. You'll be glad to know. It's an electronic document which can be filled in, has spell check on it. All right. Now, obviously, for some people, that's daunting. It shouldn't be. It's very straightforward. It's an open book test. You take it home, do it. It's not like it's challenging. An example is provide an overview of the role and foundation of a foundation coach and their responsibilities and boundaries. I'll give you a clue. In the foundation coach manual, there's 10. All right. But it's an opportunity for you to demonstrate your understanding and knowledge. We go. Here we go. Rules and regulations on skydiving. How about we try? Most people should be able to answer some of these. Question 2. Go on. Someone can shout it out. What's the answer? Oh, good. I like that. Question 3. Outline which documents provide the framework for regulation of skydiving in the UK. So, as I said, these aren't challenging questions. Obviously, there will be some people who might be challenged, with dyslexia, writing. The training provider is allowed to make allowances. So there's no reason why somebody cannot fill the form in. It looks very daunting. But again, we go back to this is a proper qualification. We'll have external people who will be coming to look at the evidence to check that actually we are teaching the right, the units that we said we'd teach, providing the right information, and we're actually checking, have evidence that people are able to demonstrate that knowledge. Those people who have already done the course, how far along are you doing your portfolios? Okay, and how difficult is it?
I did it in 4 hours.
Oh, there's always one, isn't there? There's always one.
It is very daunting though. Like, I think it's one of those things that a lot of people kind of...
I apologise.
Yeah,
I'm not going to ask you to talk into the mic.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases that you open up the 45-page document and you're like, this is very daunting, because it is, but you just got to commit to it, do half a day, and you'll get most of it done. A lot of it's really just Googling and like copy and pasting, give or take. There's
Not quite the answer I wanted, but good, all right.
it should all be your own words, and yeah, so you'll get through it very easily.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to say the reason it's a 45-page document isn't because I'm a masochist or a sadist. It's because that is what, and those that are teachers will be able to tell me that this is what people at Ofqual require. So, and dare I say it, I mean, Stu says, welcome to the 20th century, British skydiving. So it's not quite that. So I talked earlier about a safe environment to learn. And this is one of those key parts of it. So when you're being assessed, the assessor, they will give you feedback on how you did with your tasks. And this is a key part of this and a big change. So you'll be judged to be either competent or not yet competent. So even if you're competent, the assessor will mostly say, great, good answer, but actually this would be even better. Certainly when we come to the ego part, some of the skydiving, right? Some people find that challenging to have themselves assessed and actually written down. But it's a very key part, because if you're not yet competent, you don't fail the whole thing, you just fail that one task. And the assessor will say why you failed, what you need to do differently, and will work with you to put together a plan to be competent. And then you, as a learner, will sign it, the assessor will sign it, and you'll sign it to say, I've received this information, I understand it, and I agree with it. So you will not walk away from this going, wow, what a bunch of, they just didn't like me. That's not how we want. We want to create an environment where you walk away with knowledge about how you can become competent if you have judged not yet to be competent. Does that make sense? And I think that's a key. I'm not saying that happens a lot in skydiving, but it's not a key part of the process at the moment. So, come back to my lovely flow chart. You've come down, you've put together your learner portfolio, you've answered the questions, you've done the practical assessments, you've done the skydives, they've been judged to be competent. Fantastic. You now get awarded your level 2 foundation coach qualification. Or, not yet competent, you have up to 2 years, because your First for Sport membership is for 2 years, to actually make the changes you need, do the extra learning, to come back, be assessed again on just those tasks, and become competent. And that's, and again, a very key part of it. It's not like you failed the whole course, you need to go back to the top and start again. We just do this little loop at the end. Does that all make sense to everyone? Brilliant. So, you're qualified. You get a lovely certificate from First for Sport, Ofqual, British Skydiving. You are a level 2 certificate in coaching skydiving foundation skills. You can put it in your downstairs toilet. Your mum can have it framed. But this is a proper qualification. I see CVs with a level 2 sporting qualification on it. Yeah. Now, it doesn't, as I said, this doesn't mean you can then turn up to, the Football Association and go, hey, I can coach Man City. No, it's not that transferable, but it's a recognised, they will say, okay, we understand what level you're at. So we come back about standards. Your learner portfolio will go to British Skydiving, and we have what's known as internal quality assurance, IQA, internally, and that's processed by them. You then are uploaded onto the First for Sport site. That's when it generates the certificate. And there's a sampling. At the moment, every single learner portfolio is sampled internally. Then we have external. So we will have First for Sport and Ofqual will take a sample of our learner portfolios to ensure that they meet the standard that we said we're going to set, and it does. And they will actually come and visit both British Skydiving head office and also oversee a course, to observe a course, to make, again, so that just check the tutors aren't just giving you the answers. They're actually giving you all the information and all the knowledge. Costs. So, UKCoaching, you get that 1 year free subscription, and after that, it's £18 annually, and the £58 one-off, and then whatever the training provider is charging. Okay. We've talked about qualifications versus ratings. So as of the end of 2023, there's a total of 661 people with coach ratings in British Skydiving.
Is that all disciplines?
Yes. So that's people who have coach ratings, at least one. Now, some of these people have multiple. If you're Ali Milne, you have about, I don't know, 10, something like that. So have loads. Now, one of the key questions people ask me is, well, are you expecting these individuals to convert? No. There's lots of good coaches out there providing great coaching. So no, we're not going to make them do it. They might choose to, and I think currently Stu was saying that it's something like 70% of the people who've done the course already have a coach rating. But I don't expect that. So in 2023, there was 136 new ratings, not people, but ratings awarded. And those broke down, as you can see. I'd expect a similar number in 2024. It's these individuals that I would expect to start being interested in the new coach rating. The current coach rating will still be awarded and can still be renewed. There are no plans at this stage to remove the current coach ratings. And in fact, anecdotally, we haven't run enough courses yet, but some people are basically doing their coach rating to be comfortable that their skydiving skills are at the right level, and then are coming on the course. That is their choice. That's doubling up on the skydiving assessment, but that's what they choose to do. So I think we're going to see a mix. Okay, so this time last year, I stood here saying we're going to do pilot courses. We're going to run some courses to check the quality of the content, check my idea actually worked. So what did we do? I'll use the royal we here, because it wasn't actually me. So we ran 8 courses, 42 learners on those courses. So far, 9 people have had their portfolios assessed and have been awarded. And we have another 6 or 7, I think. Apparently Jeff's been busy getting ready for this, I don't know why. So he's got another 4 or 5 waiting for him in his inbox he needs to do. So we're moving through. So some of the people who already received their foundation coach qualifications. So yes, looking nice. They've actually changed the design. If you can see, they've put a blue trim around it. That's the 2024 module. So we've talked through the foundation coach manual. We've talked about a training provider. We've talked about assessment via the learner portfolio. Just notice a typo there. I shouldn't have drawn your attention to it, should I? And we talked about internal, external quality assurance, Ofqual First for Sport. Is there any questions on that process? Simple, isn't it? Oh, yes.
How many training providers are there?
Good question. Good question. Sorry, I apologise.
How many training providers are there?
Unfortunately, at the moment, there is just one. We have another 3 people who are working their way through to become valid. A little bit frustrating. I would have liked to be able to stand up here and go, we have. So at the moment, it's just Stu. But what Stu is doing, he has a number of trainers in training and another couple of people who will potentially become assessors. So while he will be the training provider, actually they'll be run drop zone independent. So they'll be run at drop zones. If that. And look out, I mean, he's already putting dates out for 5 courses. So he's got a stand downstairs, so you can talk to him about that. And certainly we will be putting a lot more information out on social media as and when we're able to announce those extra courses. Okay? Any other questions?
So this isn't a mandatory course to do if you want to get coach rating, but it gives your coach rating more credibility if you do it. Is that correct?
No. So they're 2 different things. So I would, changing your, did everyone hear the question? Yeah. So to change the wording of your question slightly, I would say that this is a different type of coaching qualification opposed to the rating. You can get a coach rating. Both have the same level of skydiving skill needed to demonstrate to be awarded. What's different is instead of methods of instruction for your coach rating, this is a lot larger piece around actually your coaching skills. So whether you, and I have a view on this, but I'm not going to impose this view on people, whether they are complementary, whether one supplements the other, how it wants to go. My interpretation, my view of how this will go, and please don't show me this in 3 years' time and say, ha, is I think we will still have people doing the coach rating because of the speed and easiness of it. I think more and more people will be interested in this coach rating. And as we see members ask for it, because we've all been through that process. You turn up to the drop zone, is there someone to coach me? Especially when we're talking about FS. But even more so when we're talking about tracking, free fly, wingsuiting. Is there someone, can you recommend someone? And it's like, oh yeah, this guy's done a single A team, he should be able to teach you. All right? Well, that's a very different type of individual. No disrespect to their skydiving skills and their ability to fly their body, but do they have the ability to transfer that knowledge to you, adapt it to suit what you need it for? I think one of the things, certainly with the changes of FS1 we've seen recently, that was very much from the work we were doing, is actually, who knows the Bradley twins, Vic and Bex? Yeah. Vic's said she's now totally changes the way she approaches someone who's asking for FS1. Because, right, great. Okay, first thing is slow fall, fast fall. She now wants, why do you want your FS1? What is it that you want to, what's your long-term goal? What's your motivation for this? Because I'm going to adapt what I teach you. If you turn around and say, I want to become a 4-way ninja and I want to win the nationals at AAA, well then she'll deliver a totally different level of technical content to if you go, actually, all I want to do is wingsuit. So this, I need to, this is one of the stickers I need on the way through. Well, great. I'll teach you to move 3-dimensionally and safely in the sport, because that's what the FS1 really is about. Yep. Does that make sense? So, any other questions? Please, more questions.
So it sounds like with the qualification, there's a lot more of the how to teach element, like teaching how to teach. In terms of the practical part with the traditional rating system and this, is there a difference in what you get in the practical side or what you have to do that would maybe make someone like myself, where I've not done any coaching, think about whether it's helpful to do both, or whether you get enough of the practical from this one? I don't know if that question makes sense.
The foundation coach manual. So go back a couple of steps. In the operations manual, there actually is no definition of what you need to do to become a coach. That's delegated into what's known as Form 134, and there's 8 of those for each different discipline. And on that form, it lays down what the minimum requirements are for being a coach, and also what skills you need to be able to demonstrate. So what you need to be able to teach, and what skills you as a skydiver need to be able to demonstrate to the person who's evaluating you. So those are still the same. Right? Now, if you're a fully formed skydiver who's a head down ninja, then actually you're going to turn up and go, well, I can demonstrate those skills. Now, can you actually teach someone how to do those skills? Do you have enough self-awareness how to do it? So I would argue the training provider, part of that whole course, is actually to make you think about it, articulate, and to share knowledge. So your tutor will have an opinion on how you move your body to do a head down carve, as an example. But you'll have a different way of thinking about it. You'll have a different way of thinking about it. You'll have a different way of describing it. And when you discuss among yourselves, you go, oh, that's a different way. I'd never thought of that. And that, as a coach, means your armory of a way of presenting the information changes. So that, to me, is the value of this. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't happen already. And I don't know everywhere, but Langer with the progression school, that Laura is running there, that very much is how it's done there, which is brilliant, which is gold standard. But what we want is a minimum standard, so that everybody who has this qualification can do that. Does that make sense? Sorry, I've butchered your question a little bit, but yeah. Yes. Right.
Thank you. I guess I'm wondering where this sits internationally. Do any other countries have anything this good? Because it looks good. Or any other sets of coaching qualifications?
It's very frustrating. And I will answer your question, but as always, I'll ramble a bit. To put it in context, so when I was doing the research, talking to sister organisations around the world, skydiving, what they do and how they do it, it became very apparent, not at skydiver level, but at government level, there's a very different way of doing this. So certainly Canada, France, Australia, New Zealand, Holland, I think Denmark, and Germany, they have a government scheme where, so the CIMSPA part of it, they're similar in that, runs courses. So what happens is you go on those courses, you pass that course, you are a generic coach. You then go to, and so you could be sitting there with football coaches, rugby coaches, badminton coaches, whatever. And then you go to your sport and they teach you the technical part. To me, that would be, if Britain did that, that'd be fantastic. For the countries that don't have this, so like that kind of system, no, is the short answer. No, they don't have anything like this. And I know, I don't know if people have seen Albert here from the USPA. He's very not interested in this, but he understands it and he's tracking what we're doing with it. And politically, there is drive from sports like ours to actually try and get some development along those lines, that there is a government standard. But from the bigger sports, rugby, football, tennis, things like that, they don't want that. They've developed their own, they have quite a big financial investment in the infrastructure they have. That's, again, maybe more information you needed, but there you go, that kind of answers that. I told you it was rambling, didn't I? Any other questions? Oh, don't hold the mic.
saw on an earlier slide there's a mention of a 2-year period somewhere. What was the meaning of that 2 years?
What happens is, first for sport, have a database. So you will be entered onto that database and you'll get a unique learner number. It's very official. And that unique learner number for that £58 is valid for 2 years. And so when we upload your learner portfolio and do that, if you're not yet competent and you have to retake some modules, or if you actually choose to actually take your time as you fill it in and do it bit by bit, you can take up to 2 years before you need to pay the £58 again.
Okay. Yeah,
that's what it means.
Just a little bit more perhaps about the CPD part of it, because if someone doesn't want to go to necessarily advanced coach and super sticky swisher coach, but wants to maintain the credibility, going onwards, how do you do CPD with that?
Certainly, and credibility, that's a good word, isn't it? I'm not sure I have any, so I don't know. So currently, if you and this will be the last question, and then what I hope to do is kind of just break out for the last 10 minutes with, so you could ask questions of the people who've already done the course. Is that good with everyone? So the CPD is currently, if you have a coach rating, you have to do 5 coach sessions a year and get your CR, Advanced Instructor Examiner, to sign you off. The proposal at the moment is, and in line with lots of other sports and the way they do it, is you have to demonstrate at least 20 CPD points. What do you get points for? You need a minimum of 15 points for coaching session. So for every one person you coach, that's 1 point. So 15 coaching sessions in a year. Someone did say to me, well, that's 3 times what we have to do now. It's like, well, yes, because 5 is too low. So a minimum of 15. And there's a little bit of debate. We haven't said, I'm saying, well, if you coach a forward, that's kind of like 4 points up to, they do 10 jumps a day, that's not 40 points, but, we'll cap it. Other people are going, well, coaching a group of 4, a group of 8, or a group of 80 is the same as coaching 1. It's like, have you coached a 4-way group? But anyway, and a minimum of 5 points from generic learning. So whether that's reading content on UKCoaching, whether it's attending events like this, there is a web page for a Facebook group for qualified coaches. And again, people are posting links in there for new content to be reviewed. What you would do is put that in your logbook, and there will be a coach's logbook, and you will so you can demonstrate to your training provider when it comes for renewal, annual renewal of your coach qualification, that you have done this. Yep. Does that answer that question? So again, and the reason is that this whole concept, once you write something down, it is old. So once you talk about a technique, whether it's the generic coaching content, whether it's skydiving content, it becomes old. And therefore, the idea is this is alive. It will change and adapt. New links will be put into the Foundation Coach Manual as better content is put on UKCoaching website. Existing coaches will go, I found this. This is really good. I think this is better than what you're using already. It will be changed. Yep. So it will be a live document. Okay, so last kind of 10 minutes, and Stu's just joined us at the back. He's the short man with his arm up. Is we will, if people want to, I'm not forcing anybody, those individuals who've already done the course, please put your arms up. And if you have questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Stu at the back, 5. If you have questions that I haven't been able to answer, or you didn't want to answer in front of me, please go and chat to them. Yeah, is everyone good? Thank you very much for your time today.